Coming up on this episode of 101 Sports, we break down a weekend at Augusta, preview the NBA playoffs, and hand out some hardware in the NHL. But with Joe unable to make it this week, we have turned to an old vet to return to the desk.
101 Sports starts right now.
Hello, friends, and welcome to 101 Sports, a tradition like no other. I'm Kurt Leston.
And for Joe DiRienzo, I'm Greg Brzezinski. We've got a great show for you today, but before we begin, we want to express our condolences with those affected in any way by the Boston Marathon bombings. Our thoughts and prayers are with you all, as today we are all Boston sports fans. There's no right way to transition from this, but now let's kick things off with the starting five.
The 2013 Green Jacket has been handed out, and for the first time in Masters history, an Aussie emerged from Augusta a champion. Adam Scott defeated Angel Cabrera with a birdie on the second hole of their playoff. Greg, what are you going to remember from 2013 Masters?
Well, you said it right there, Kurt. It's Adam Scott taking home the Green Jacket, the first for Australia. His putt on 18, that incredible long putt where he just screams in absolute joy, "Let's go Aussie," was unbelievable. That was incredible to watch. And then the playoff, when he sinks home that putt, he just feeling the joy of being the first Australian taken home, especially after his idol Greg Norman failed so many times. It's great to see.
Greg, I hear you, and I really do want to celebrate Adam Scott for winning. I think
As
it's
you
great.
should.
I want to.
It was
It's
a great
story.
accomplishment, first major.
For me, it's a little overshadowed by the despicable behavior of Tiger Woods.
Despicable.
Despicable.
That's
Listen,
harsh.
Tiger Woods cheated. He knew he cheated. He then signed a scorecard.
said he didn't.
Listen, please. This is someone you're going to believe. Listen, he cheated.
He doesn't have a good track record, I'll give you that.
He's a cheater. He cheated here, okay? That's what he did. He signed the scorecard that he knew he cheated on, and then he doesn't withdraw himself, which, okay, the golf in itself, the Masters, should have kicked him out because he cheated.
Well,
but
guess what?
Clearly on
They
ratings, they couldn't. He should have stepped up and done it himself.
Well, first off, the ratings thing, I think while Tiger does drive ratings, Masters doesn't care.
Then
They
they-
own the PGA. They own
Listen, if no one had cared about ratings and who's watching, they would have kicked him out.
No, I don't think so, because they had rules officials there. But you know what? It didn't matter because he didn't contend and he didn't win. Scott did. At 34 years old, most NBA players are in the downslope of their career. Yet Kobe Bryant has embodied his new nickname, Vino, Italian for wine. He got better with age. Kobe's incredible campaign turned to sour grapes, though, suffering a season-ending torn Achilles while carrying the Lakers and attempting to salvage a forgettable year. Will Kobe, Kurt, be able to return from an injury of this magnitude and be at the same level that he once was?
Yeah, last time I checked, this is still Kobe Bryant.
Yep.
Still one of the greatest basketball players
Yep.
of all time. A guy who's
Yep.
been doing it forever now. Of course he can come back. Of course, listen, I will never doubt Kobe to do anything Kobe sets his mind to. Please.
It's incredible. Kobe, while he has played so many extra years, with all the playoff games, Team USA appearances, he's added about 3 seasons on to his already 17-year career.
Yeah.
It's incredible. But do you want to doubt Kobe Bryant?
No.
It's funny. He's got this great quote. I remember he said a couple years ago, it's funny he suffered a torn Achilles. He said, quoting Achilles from the movie Troy, "I want what all men want. I just want it more. Tell me that man's not going to come back stronger."
Greg, I love it. I can tell you, listen, Kobe Bryant is one of the greatest competitors we've ever had in sports. And you know what? The fact that players are playing longer now than they ever have before, why would you count out this guy?
And when Dominique Wilkins suffered a torn Achilles, he came back the next year, averaged nearly 30 points per game. It can be done.
He'll come back, and I think he'll be strong for sure. Los Angeles Dodgers fan went to the stadium expecting to see a baseball game, and then a hockey game broke out. Well, kind of not really. There was a brawl, so close enough. But Zack Greinke was now injured for the next 8 weeks due to a broken collarbone. This melee started because Greinke plunked Padres slugger Carlos Quentin, who then charged the mound. Dodgers manager Don Mattingly said that Quentin should be suspended for as long as his ace is hurt. Greg, what do you think about Mattingly's comments here? Do you agree with it?
Look, I get what Donnie Baseball's trying to get at. He's upset because his ace, the guy they're paying 9 figures to throughout this new contract, is now on the shelf in the beginning of the season. They needed him to be there. But here's why I don't think that Quinn should be suspended for as long as Greinke.
I'm listening.
It's ridiculous. Second off, when you're making 9 figures, don't get in fights. It's pretty simple. Third, Greinke did initiate contact. It's not like he backed down and tried to get away and clear himself out. He charged too.
I got to tell you, if this was a dirty play, then I would say sure, he
Exactly.
should be he should be banned for as long as Greinke's hurt. But you know what? He charged him out after he got plunked. It's his right to defend himself. And Greinke braced himself and took the hit. If you don't want to get hurt, get out of the way.
Exactly. I couldn't agree with you more. I think it's at fault for both these guys. It was nasty, but it was kind of fun to see the animosity between these two squads. I love a good baseball brawl.
I enjoyed it.
Oh, yeah. Well, some of high school basketball's top recruits were recently asked how they'd fare going one-on-one versus arguably the greatest player of all time, in his prime nonetheless, Michael Jordan. Believe it or not, I kid you not, some said they would not only hold their own, but could beat his airness. Kentucky recruits Dakari Johnson and Andrew Harrison both claimed they'd be able to best an early 90s MJ. Kurt, how quickly have people already forgotten how incredibly, insanely good Michael Jordan was?
Clearly a few years after the 90s, because that's why when these kids were born.
Yeah.
But Greg, I can't wrap my head around this one. I really can't, because, I mean, you look at it in any sport. If you ask anyone from any sport if they could be the best player who has ever played in that sport, what's going on with these kids these days, Greg?
I don't know, but you know what? They're going to learn today, that's for sure. That's happening because these kids, while they were about 3-4 years old when the last shot took place in Utah, they need to understand that while it's great to have confidence, they're 18 years old. The world is on a string for them right now. They're being handed scholarships to any school in the country, but this is insane.
There's a difference between confidence and cockiness, and these kids have crossed the line.
Absolutely.
The Boston Red Sox are customarily announce their home games attendance in the press box, usually in the 7th inning or beyond. For 820 consecutive games, the announced attendance was followed by the words sellout. Wednesday night, anticipating the inevitable, the Red Sox issued a news release announcing their record of streaks has ended. Greg, what do you make about the sellout streak ending? And what do you think? Is this a big deal?
Well, Kurt, I know the whole city of, your fan base, you're from Boston. This was a news story that you care about a great deal. I personally think that the fact they're able to keep this going for so long is pretty commendable because you honestly think attendance down all throughout baseball. You can't get people to some of these games. You always see the pictures taken at first pitch start times. Remember before the Dodgers got bought, how empty stadium that was, or what Miami Marlins Stadium is always looking like every day? It's tough to get people in the ballpark, but it did become a bit of a joke after a while when it was clear it wasn't filled up. Well,
joke.
Go ahead, unload.
I'm glad you got
unload,
that.
Kurt.
Isn't that funny? You finally got to that point. Greg, this sellout streak hasn't been a sellout streak for like the last 3 years, and they've just been continuing it for some strange reason. Listen, what this shows is that ownership is ready to get their heads out of their butts, acknowledge that they made mistakes, and is ready to move on, and maybe at some point I'll accept them again.
So growing up, the Red Sox, that annoyed you, I assume.
Oh yes, very much so.
Yes.
Very much so. Well, that's all we have for this A block of 101 Sports, but hey, Greg, it was fun. I think you did well, sir.
Oh,
but
thank
coming
you.
up
Good to be
next,
back.
I will be joined with our golf expert, Paulo De La Feld, to talk about everything Masters. You don't want to miss this.